Now we're going to look at strategies to making the base of our laser here. So in the first video, I showed you how to pull out the dimensions, right? So how wide it is, how long it is, like you just click on that line and that's how long that dimension is, right? And then you click in the white space to unclick it. That way you only have one thing selected at a time. You can get the dimensions of your base, okay? So the base fits perfectly along the frame, right? It doesn't account for like the extra width of the container or the back piece or the lid, right? It's just the width of the base. So we know that once we design it, or once we have the dimensions, all the holes that are going to be drilled into it to mount to the frame are going to be 10 millimeters in. We're using 20 millimeter extrusion, which halfway through that is 10 millimeters, right? So yeah, here we go. Right, so 10 millimeters in is where we want the hole to connect the base to. So once you have those dimensions off on shape, you can take those to a lot of places. You can go to Online Metals and order a steel base, an aluminum base. I don't know if I do aluminum. Steel's alright. Steel like reflects the things everywhere. Aluminum reflects it really nice to straight back up. Copper would kind of make sense, but it'd be really expensive. I've used HDPE, which is a plastic. It's like cutting board plastic, but it's really easy to machine, and it's not too expensive. You can go to, well, I'm on the West Coast, so we have Tap Plastics over here, and they can cut it exact to size. So if I say I need 800 millimeters by 600 millimeters, they'll cut me a square that's 800 by 600. Done, right? You can do wood, I guess, if you want. Like, a base is a base, but the wood can be lasered, so you might have laser spots if you miss. Might not be a big deal to you. So if you do wood, you can take it to your table saw, get it to square. Get it square to the size you need. Just make sure it's square, right? Because we're going to be aligning the frame to the base. Now, you don't actually need a base. You can just set the whole frame on top of a table, throw your wood in and engrave it, right? Or you can throw down a piece of aluminum foil, throw down your acrylic, and cut that out with this laser, right? So you don't actually need like a base at all. You can just, if it needs protection, throw down aluminum foil. If it doesn't, if you're just engraving the top of wood, just throw the wood in there. So if you do want a base, so I'm going to go over some strategies. So my base I made out of HDPE, the cutting board plastic. I took it to my CNC mill, which is the computer controlled mill, and it cut everything perfectly, cut all the insert holes. Those are also very optional. You don't need those, but if you want them, they're cool to have. Okay, but a lot of you probably just got a square from Home Depot, from Lowe's, from Tap Plastics, wherever you go to get your plastic or wood or whatever. Online Metals, Metal Supermarket we have right down the street. I've used those before. So, this is a fake base, right? This is just a piece of MDF, right? Corny MDF. But I'm going to be pretending this is my base, okay? It's not my base, but we're playing pretend here. Okay, so what I need to do here is I've got this drill loaded. Now we're putting 5 millimeter or M5 screws in to the base to hold it, which means we need our holes to be at least 5 millimeters or larger, right? Now I like to go a lot larger. I'm using a 1/4 inch drill bit, which is 6.35 millimeters. Okay, so plenty large. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a piece of wood. This is going to be my stop. Okay, this is my stop piece. I'm going to put it on my drill press. If you don't have a drill press, then you're going to have to take your metric ruler and literally, measure 10 millimeters in, 10 millimeters in, take your straight edge, and then draw a line and drill some holes in that line, okay? It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to pay off. But you're going to have to do it that way. I've got a drill press here. Chances are you have a makerspace in your city or close to your city somewhere. Look at makerspaces near me. They have a drill press you can use, I'm sure. And even if you don't join them, chances are they can still help you out with getting this base done right. They'll probably be interested in your whole build in general, actually. Okay, so what I want to do is make sure the stop of this piece right here is 10 millimeters from the drill head itself. Okay, so I'm going to be pushing it with the tape measure. That looks about right. So I'm going to clamp down one side of this, right? Hold it down with one hand. Just happen to have clamps ready. Wouldn't you know it? Okay. Kind of tight there. And then I'm going to check it again. Okay. That actually stayed pretty good. Okay. So, I'm going to get the other clamp on. Cool. Now, I'm going to find a practice piece of wood. I'm not going to use my base just yet, right? Because my base is precious and it costs me a lot of money here. So, here I go with a piece of acrylic works just fine. Okay. So, safety glasses. Okay. Then I'm going to drill this through. So I drilled it with it pushed up against the stop here, right? Okay. I'm going to measure how far in the center of that hole is. And boy, that's really close. Let's see, it needs to... that's really close. But it is a little too far in, so the stop needs to go over just a little bit here. Okay, so I'm going to loosen up just one side and give it a little bit of a push. Maybe, whoa, that's stuck on there. There we go. That's a little bit of a push. Okay. So, it's really important, you just put a hole in here, right? We're going to put another hole. Once you put the other hole in it, make sure to measure that hole, not the first hole you did. I've done that before, like, oh, which hole did I do? Oh, must be this one. Oh, still off. And then, you know, get to the other side, it's like, whoa, I'm way off the other way. Okay. So, make sure you know which hole, you're keeping track of your holes. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, that's pretty much perfectly centered. That'll definitely work, especially since it's a larger hole, it's an oversized hole. There's room for that screw to wiggle a little bit in there. Okay. So I got my stop here aligned. Now I'm ready to take my very expensive high-end plastic base or MDF base, whatever you got, right, to the drill press. So I don't know if you remember the drawing or the construction at all, but the laser itself has a bar going all the way across the front, and then it joins in here, okay? So we're going to want a hole somewhat near the corner, but on this edge right here. We don't want that hole near the corner on this edge, right? Because this doesn't actually get towards the corner. This only gets like, well, it stops at 20 millimeters, right? Because it's a 20 millimeter extrusion. So I'm going to put a few holes in here and try to get some at the edge. So I think I'll put 5 in this one. This one's at the edge. Close to the edge. Doesn't have to be right at the edge. And same thing on this side. Alright. And then I'm going to put one in the middle on this side. And one sort of outside. Same thing on this one. So I just had a bunch of crumbs back here, right? As I lifted this up. If you do not clear the crumbs and you push that against here, you're going to have crumbs in the way and you're not going to be centered correctly. So make sure to clear your crumbs out. All right, there we go. Now we have a perfect, ready to go base. Now you notice how I didn't actually measure where these holes go for any of this? It really doesn't matter, right? It just needs to be somewhat close, and you're not gonna see it. So nobody's gonna walk up to your laser and be like, oh, cool laser, wait, is your base not equally spaced with its bolts? What a bunch of crap. That's not gonna happen, right? No one's gonna see it. It's gonna be perfectly solid and steady. So I don't even take the time. If you want to take the time, you know, to center these things, you can. In the drawing, if you're pulling the STL out or the DXF and milling it on the CNC mill, then it's going to be perfectly aligned. But it certainly doesn't need to be. Anyways, hopefully this helps you make the base. And thanks for watching.